12th of June, Rabbi Levitt, Gemora.
You're okay now?
Okay, now I was gonna fly out,
Uh-huh.
but I was whatchamacallit. What's the word for it? I tested positive, so they won't let me go.
Word is sick,
Oh. Oh.
What?
sick.
You tested positive for COVID?
Just a what?
What?
Actually, I
For
missed it
COVID.
by a couple of days because now you don't have to starting tomorrow. You don't have time. You don't have to take a test anymore. But I had to take the test, and the test showed positive, and they won't let you on the plane.
Wow.
Oh, sorry. Are you going to go anyway and again?
I postponed it for 2 weeks. I postponed it 2 weeks now.
Uh-huh.
And of course, it's more money because things have gone up because of all the gases and all kinds of other stuff, but that's what's happening.
No.
Nice.
I'm
Sorry
sorry
about
that
that.
happens like that, yeah. Well, it's nice to have you here anyway.
Yeah, okay. So I'll be around for a couple more weeks, shall we
But
say.
that's a positive.
Yeah. Try to work on the whatchamacallit after all. What's that called? What was that? The article again? Maybe I'll try to get the article back again now that I'm still here.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's really under a week this staying here. I have to test myself a couple of.
When
Yeah.
can you, what's the first time that you could go retest?
I have to. It's only home tests. I have to do a retest tomorrow and Tuesday. And if they're both negative, then you're free. So on Wednesday I can go out. And if not, then I have to wait till Friday to go out.
How do you feel?
I feel okay. I mean, the only thing I would say is I've had it felt like a little sore throat. That's what I would say. I'm feeling better now. And before I was hot, but then again, I didn't know if I was hot. I don't feel feverish. I just think it's because everybody was hot. The weather was just hot.
Right. Yeah. Before Shalema.
Thanks.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. Okay, so we are. Let's see where we are. We're on Sadi Hey Amid Aleph, 95A. And the question is, where exactly are we on the page? Oh, we were doing the opinions of Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Yehuda, and Rabbi Shimon.
Right.
About the case of, you see where we are? Let's just find the place for everybody. We
Yeah,
got
the
the
article,
place.
we finished up through 95A to, we just finished the Reb Shimon. We're up to the continuing with the questions, to explain them.
Okay. So, right.
I think it's the top of the page of 95A2, isn't it? Rabbi Shimon says.
Mm-hmm. Yes. We finished those 3 lines.
Tanra Banan Hagozel Rachel. Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah. Okay, fine. The Mishnah was talking about a parah that he stole a parah that was already muberis, and then it gave birth after he stole it. But the Brisa it's not necessarily talking about an animal that was, okay, whatever it is, maybe it was some degree of pregnancy, or the sheep that had some degree of wool, and on that, we wanted to know there's three opinions over here, and so they had different opinions between the three Tanoim about exactly what is he going to pay? Is he going to pay for the? Does he have to return the animal? Does he can just pay for the value of the animal at the time that he stole it? Does he have to pay for the calf that was born? Does he only have to pay for the amount of the calf as an unborn fetus? And similarly with the wool, does he have to pay for the wool that he actually shore, or for the value of the wool at the time that he stole it? That was the machlekes over there, amongst the Tanoim over there. So now we're going to take a look at Iboilahu. The Gemora has some questions over here about the different opinions. So Iboilahu can be found. The first word in the line is osa. Looks to be about 13 lines from the top of the page. And the Iboya starts with the last word in that line. The first word in the line is osa, and we're starting with Iboya, and then we go on to the line below that, lahu. There was a question that was asked about these matters. So let's go to Roy to start off the reading.
Lahu, they inquired, May Ta'amaya the Rabbi Meir. What is Rabbi Meir's reason? And that's for ruling that the robber must return the calf and the shorn wool. Mishum de Kasavar Shenui Bimkomo Omed. Is it because he holds that a stolen article that undergoes a change remains in its place? That means a change does not affect acquisition. Or Dilma Ba'alama Shanoi Kone, or perhaps generally he holds a change does affect acquisition. The Hochav Kanoso who Dako Konis, but here it is a penalty that he imposes. The May Nafko Mana. What is the practical difference between these two possibilities? The Hava, the Kahasha, Mikhash. It is relevant to where the animal underwent a physical change and deteriorated. So what are you asking?
Okay. Let's take is there a Rashi over here? Rashi doesn't look to be that there is a Rashi. Okay. Yeah, there is a Rashi.
Kanis.
Before that, there was a Rashi that I don't see where it fits into the Gemora at all.
No, I couldn't find it either.
It's a little bit careful. Seems to be out of place.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll skip over that one. Oh no! I'm sorry. That's what Rabbi Shimon said. We did that. We did that. We did that. Okay, so now we're discussing Rabbi Meir. So the Gemara wants to know what's the reasoning of Rebbe Meir? And here, it seems that the Gemara is understanding not like I understood. I don't know how you understood, but from the language of the Brisa, it says over here that Rebbe Meir just said Mishalim Osa ve'eskiz oseha ve'esblad oseha. The Gemara doesn't say clearly to me that that Rebbe Meir requires you to return the animal. It just says Mishalim Osa, but it seems clear that the Gemara understands that means that you are returning the animal itself. Mishalim Osa. Maybe that's the point. It says pay it. And that means pay it means to return it, perhaps. In any case, the Gemara is asking this that the Goslin has to return it according to Reb Meir, the animal. And
Note that says that according to Rashi,
yeah.
He returns the stolen animal and everything that he took from it, including that which it appreciated. So we might want to look and see that Rashi.
Okay. Fine. But let's just speak out before we see the Rashi, the two sides that the Gemara says over here. The Gemara asks what's the reason of Rebbe Meir? Is it because he holds that Shinui is Bimkoma Omed, meaning that the Goslin doesn't acquire anything from the animal based upon a fact that it got more wool, or it got a calf that it didn't have before. That's a shinui, but it won't it's not kona. Is that what Rebbe Meir holds, and that's why he says he's got to give it back? Or does the Gemara mean to say that ba'alma shinui is kona? Generally, we say that the shinui is kona, but over here, hacha, in this case, we say that we're going to make a penalty on him. Knasuhu to kokonas. We made a penalty on him that he's got to return it, even though according to the bottom line of the halacha, he would not have really had to return it. So okay, now let's see what Rashi has to say. Kansa knas kanas.
Kansa knas. That means they owes the penalty. They did the fine. Shelo yehe chute nisacha begazela. Okay, so you shouldn't have a hook's like a thread.
Iskar. He shouldn't get sachar.
You shouldn't get reward.
Yeah.
You shouldn't
don't
get
want
reward.
to.
This is a chuda, a thread of reward, a little bit of reward from the step.
Shelo yehi chota niskar. That the sinner should not be rewarded.
A sinner should not not get a benefit from the step. We told that Hashevis that he would be able to take the sheva, because he would get some benefit from it if he would do that.
Yeah, if we would just say, "Oh, just return what it is that you stole," so then he wouldn't have to return the amount of wool that he actually shored off and benefited from, and he wouldn't have to return the calf that was born. He would just have to pay for the maybe the value of the unborn fetus, perhaps value of the animal at that point at the time of the gezel. But the Gemara over here doesn't seem to learn like that. The Gemara says, "Lamai nafkamina." Gemara doesn't understand Lamai nafkamina means what's the practical difference of what you're saying over here? Okay. What's the difference whether we say that the reason that the Chazal made this decree is because they didn't want him to profit and they want to penalize him, or that he holds or remember holds that's the din Torah. That's the din Torah that a Gazlan doesn't acquire as a result of Shinui. Nobody gets. So let's see what Rashi says over here.
Well, that's actually connected to the Gemara here. The question then is the fact that the difference is not this case; it's the case of getting weakening. We always talk about the shvach before, but we never really talked about the weakening case. Now we're finally still getting to it. The nafkamina, what do you learn from it? Rather here that it's not that we had an appreciation, rather we had a depreciation. Karma, if you'd say the reason is machine the shuni the komo that it changed in its place, or made it would stand. The kasha with the depreciation nami also hadar it goes back. The ita kasha, what it is now, the e timer. If the reason is mishum kansei that he there's a penalty in it to the shinui kana kane, and a change he does require with a change. He should be mishalem. He does have to pay. He did what it originally was. Heicha, this is all in parentheses now. The Leica concept here that there is no penalty. Achinami here, or also ika shinui. There is a change to mishalem to ma'ikra, and he does have to pay what it was originally, which is what we were saying, that if the price goes down, he does have a problem. He does have to pay the original amount. He doesn't get away with saying it's worth less now. It's his problem. He stole what was worth so much.
Okay. Okay, Alan, would you like to take over the reading?
Sure.
Toshma.
Toshima, the Gemara attempts to resolve the inquiry. Toshima, come learn the resolution from the following Mishnah. But the Kimor, he's Kinoa. If one stole an animal and it aged, would deem the he Kino, or slaves they aged, Mashalem Kisha, he did day law, he pays their value as of the time of the robbery. Rabbi Meir Omar, Rabbi Meir says, Mordim Omer Lo, Hare Shilachor for Nechor. With respect to slaves, the robber may say to the original owner, behold, what is yours is before you. Elu more Kishas has a gay law. Now Rabbi Meir disputes the Tanna Kama's ruling only with respect to slaves, implying that with respect to a stolen animal that aged, however, he agrees with the Tanna Kama that the robbery acquires it and pays its value as of the time of the robbery. The E Salah Tor Savar Rabbi Meir Shinoi Bima Komo Omeid And if it should enter your mind to say the Rebbe Meir holds that a change remains in its place, afilu ba'amor nami, then even in the case of an animal as well, the Rambam should be able to return the animal in its present depreciated state and say, behold, what is yours is before you. Ela le shema minor. Rather, do you not learn from this that Kasover Rabbi Meir Shino Kona, Rabbi Meir holds that change does affect acquisition. The ka kenis, and is ruling here that the robber must return the offspring and the shorn wool is simply a penalty that Rabbi Meir imposes when the changed article has appreciated. Question mark.
Okay, wow. Okay, now I'm totally, okay, so what do we do now? Okay, so like this, the Gemara brings Toshma. Toshma means we're going to bring a raya to one of these two sides. Does Rabbi Meir hold that Shinui is Kona? Or rather, he holds that Shinui is not Kona. He holds that Shinui is not Kona, or he holds that, that there's a Knas. Or he holds that there's a Knas. So
Shouldn't it be and he holds it's a kanas?
yeah, well, so I see that we don't really understand this over here. You see clearly from the what he says over here, the Gemara asks, does he say Shini bimkoma omeid? Does he hold, on the one hand, he holds that maybe, or Dilma, or perhaps he holds that Ba'alma Shinui is Kona, it is Kona, and Hacha Knasahu de Kokonas. So these are two mutually exclusive options. It's not a matter of mixing and matching them. That's the Gemara's question. Either the Gemara says either he holds that Shinui bimkoma omeid, meaning that Shinui will not result in a kinyan for the Goslin, or he holds that even though Shinui is Kona, and it would mean a Torah, it doesn't make a difference whether it's a Goslin or whether it's somebody else, but since but over here, since he is a Goslin, and we don't want him to benefit from the appreciation in his theft, so therefore we make a penalty on him so that he won't profit from his wrongdoing. Those are two mutually exclusive options that we have over here. Because again, we have to go back to the start. How are we understanding the din of Reb Meir when he steals this animal and gives birth? He steals the sheep and shears it. What does Rebbe Meir say is his din? The Brisa said, "Meshalamoso ve'es gizoseha ve'es vladoseha." So Rashi originally said that what that means. This is the Rashi on the fourth line of the page. Mishalomosova eskizoseha kol mash notam imenu umash eshbicha. So he has to give back He has to give back, pay back. It doesn't seem to make a big difference whether he's got to give the animal back or pay it, but he can't profit from it. Everything that he took, and also that which there was an appreciation in the stolen article, he's got to give all of that back. That's what Rabbi Meir holds. So the Gemara wanted to know, is that because he holds that even though there's the appreciation, the shebach is a shinui in the stolen article? Does it mean that the reason why he's got to give it back, according to Rabbi Meir, is because Rabbi Meir holds that shinui bimkoma omed, that shinui doesn't result in a kinyan for the one who now has the object, or is the reason that he has to give it all back, even though it's more than what he stole, is because they made a knas on him. They made a knas on him. And Rashi explained, we can understand why they made a knas on him, because they don't want they don't want a chota, shaloye chota niskar. They don't want a sinner to benefit from his wrongdoing, to be able to take the appreciation on the basis of a din that shinim become omed. So that was the Gemara's question, and the Gemara asked what's the difference whether he holds what's the difference how he holds. The Gemara said the difference will be in a case where that which he stole became less valuable. There was a kasha. It got weakened. It now became less valuable. And so now, right? So because what would be in that case? In the case where what he stole got less valuable, what would we say? Presumably we would say, well, if it's just a matter of the fact that the Rebbe Meir holds, the Torah says Shinu is not Kona, that would allow him, that even though he stole something which was worth more, it would allow him to just give it back and say, here it is, even though it's worth less than what it was when I stole it, but I didn't acquire it because Shinu is not Kona, and there's no gezerah on me, and that's it. So I give it back. Or do we say that no? The only reason that we say in that case of that brisa is because we wanted to penalize him. He shouldn't benefit from his wrongdoing. But in a case where he stole something and it got and it got less valuable, it deteriorated. It got older, whatever it was. So in that case, what should we do? It would seem like we wouldn't say that.
Are we separating that from punishment for being a thief?
The issue over here is, the issue over here is that we don't want
Benefit.
See, we were trying to figure out. Is this because of a gezerah that the Chazal made on the Goslin? Because they don't want the Goslin to profit from his wrongdoing, or no? Rebbe Meir doesn't hold of any such thing. He just holds that when the stolen article undergoes a change, that change that it goes through doesn't result in a kinyan. Doesn't result in a kinyan in favor of the Goslin. So if that would be so, whether it goes up, whether it goes up, whether it goes down, he hasn't acquired it. He hasn't acquired it. So that would mean that if it went down in value, he'd be able to say, here it is. here it is. It's only worth a fraction of what it was when I stole it, but I didn't acquire it. It still belongs to you, and I could make a proper return. Whereas if we say no, really, shinui is koine. Shinui is koine when the stolen article undergoes a transformation. So that transformation, that shinui, results in an acquisition for the Goslin for better or well, that's now the question. We can't say for better or for worse, because if it's a gezerah on the Goslin, we're going to say, well, if he profited, we don't want him to profit, so with that he's got to give it back. But if he didn't profit, if that's not the issue, what happens when the animal gets weak or goes down in value? It would seem that in that case, if the whole reason that he's able to that we say that shinui is not koine is so we don't want him to profit, but in the case where he's not going to profit, we're going to say shinui is koine. You acquired that animal that got weak or whatever, and that animal is yours now because shinui is koine, and now you've got to give back the value of the animal that it was at the time of the theft. That's what we would say according to the view that the Rebbe Meir holds that shinui is a koine, right? Shinui is koine, but we made a gezerah on him. We made a knas. We made a knas. We penalized him. In which case are we going to penalize him? We're going to penalize him when he's going to profit from his gezela. That's the only case that the penalty is going to be in place to say that, oh, you didn't acquire that animal that you stole, even though it underwent a shinui. But if the animal underwent a shinui for the worse, if it became weak, if it became infirm, if it became less valuable, so in that case, if the whole reason that we penalized him is so he won't profit, so we say in this case we'll leave we don't have any penalty over here. We'll leave it with the din deraisa. What's the din deraisa? That he acquires that weak animal, but now he'll have to pay back to the stolen party the value of a healthy animal that he stole.
We're sort of looking from one point of view, from the point of view of the thief, and making decisions on that. On the other hand, we're looking at the original owner, the one who was the victim.
We have one consideration. In other words, we don't want the thief to profit from his thievery. So where according to the Torah he would profit from his thievery, we step in and we say, no, you didn't acquire it. You have to give him all of the appreciation that you acquired according to Torah law. Yeah. We sort of push aside the Torah law in order that the thief should not profit from his wrongdoing. But the nafkamina, the practical difference will be if the animal goes down in value for whatever reason after he stole it. In that case, according to Torah law, what will be the din? At least according to this side that we're discussing, is that the Torah will say that the animal underwent the shinui, and shinui is koine. And so, if so, then he's bought his, so to speak, he's acquired his his weak animal that he stole, and he'll have to pay back. The Torah will say, "Kol hagazlanim mishalmim kishas hagzela." So we're saying we're just leaving it on the Torah standard when that he has to return what it is that he stole, the full value of what he stole. He has to return it, and the value is determined not by what the animal is worth now, but what the animal was worth at the time of the theft.
So it makes up.
So in other words, that's the right. So either way, he's not profiting.
Mhm.
He's not profiting. He has to give back what he stole. In both cases, we just had to make a penalty in the case where what he stole appreciated. Okay, so now we've got 8 more minutes, and now let's have Lou. Would you like to read the Rashi over here?
Okay.
The Heskina.
Okay, let's see. Where is it exactly?
Heskina
Mm.
is
Is it after Kanas?
it is after Knas and after Knas and after Nafkamina.
I see it. The Heskina. The Ashtani Ligariosa V'Hayinu Kachsha. I don't know. These words are not familiar to me.
The ashta is that now the Garua it got worse because the Hayinu Kachasha, because it got weakened, it deteriorated.
Oh, the value of the slave or the animal depreciated.
Right.
So if he says, "Here's your animal," or "Here's your slave," then he's giving back less than he took.
Right. So Reb Meir says over here, he says he said, right? Reb Meir omer ba'avodim omer lo harei shalcha lefanecha. Now, what are we supposed to think over here? Let me ask you a question. What does Rebbe Meir hold about if he stole a behema and it got old or weak?
He's got to give back the value at the time he stole it, because Rabbi Meir says, "I don't want him to benefit."
Well, why shouldn't he say that by the Eved too then?
That's a
Why
good
is he-
question. It doesn't seem to discuss why he has a different view about the Evid.
Okay, but before we get to the why, I think you're very correct to say that he doesn't hold the same thing by the behema that he holds by the Eved. That's why he talked about the Eved. If you take a look at the language of the this is a Mishnah actually on Tzadi Vav Amid Beis. We're going to see it Bez Hashem on the next page. The Tanakama says in these two cases, whether he stole an animal, whether he stole an Eved, and they became old, the first opinion says Mishalim Kishas Hagzela. He's got to pay for both of them according to the time that they were at the Gezel. And then Rabbi Meir pipes up. Rabbi Meir pipes up and says, oh, well, in regard to Avodim, he could give it back and say, here's your slave that I stole from you. Here he is. And he doesn't have to give back the value of a healthy slave that he stole, according to Rabbi Meir. But Rabbi Meir didn't differ with the Tanakama on the behema. He just said ba'avodim. In regard to avodim, this is what the din is. But it's implied that he agrees in the case of behema. Okay, fine.
But there is something about an Eved and Hiskino. The whole concept of Hiskino is that it's getting older. Now things naturally get older, so it's not the same kind of category that you're talking about. You know, like the other cases with the animal, where it was pregnant, it's not pregnant, it had an Uber, it didn't, it had sheep had shearing and not shearing. It's just a natural thing that's occurring. So it shouldn't be an issue about it to say that I have to really worry about it so much.
What, animals don't get old?
They do, but it's not. He's giving back the ad value of what it was at the beginning.
Where are you?
He can't.
Are you in Israel or in America?
He's allowed to say.
Why is there a difference between the animal and the slave? Both get older.
I know, but the slave. No, there's a difference. It's somehow the slave. He could say he can bring it back. He just give it back. It's yours. I don't want to deal with it. Now the animal he can't. So why should he not do with the animal?
Okay, now we got to take, now everybody's got the question. Why is Rabbi Meir hold differently by the animal than he does by the Eved? Let's take a look at Rashi. Ba'avodim.
Ba'avadim omer lo harei shalcha lefanecha. Somebody's making a lot of noise. Oh, thank you, whoever did that. So with slaves, it says to him, behold, what is yours is before you.
Yes.
Excuse me, I have to go. We've got a.
Okay, all the best, Roy.
Yeah, bye, Roy.
Well, all of you. Bye. Bye.
The avada pardon?
Avada kamakarkari dummy. What's that mean?
Slaves are considered like whatchamacallit, like his property.
They have this
The slave is considered to be like land.
like land, karka. Karka
Right.
has a special din. There's a special din by karka that we say karka eno nigzelis. Karka, land cannot be stolen. In other words, even if somebody his possession of the karka doesn't the Goslin kicked off the owner doesn't change the fact that the owner owns the property. So therefore, and there's a Rashi doesn't go into it, but the Gemora derives based upon a hekesh in a pasuk that avodim. We don't mean to say that an eved is like a piece of land, but we mean to say that there's a legal comparison based upon a pasuk that the halacha that karka it cannot be stolen will also apply to a eved rather. That we say about an eved also that just like karka cannot be stolen, since an eved there's a legal comparison in a pasuk that compares his halachas to the halachas of karka. We will also say that a eved also cannot be stolen, and therefore that means that even if it depreciates and gets weak, that he could just give it back and say, "Here's your eved," because it always belonged to you, because shinui doesn't result in a kinyan when it comes to karka, when it comes to avodim. So that's okay. It's 12:31. Okay, sorry, we didn't let you finish. Okay, so this is Lou's Rashi for tomorrow. Be'ezus Hashem. We're in the middle of this
Okay.
Rashi.
All
Okay,
right.
Yasher Koyach, everybody.
Okay, Lou, see you at 4, right?
Yeah.
5 to 4, 10 to
Yeah.
4,
Sounds good. Bye-bye.
right,
All the best, everybody.
right.